Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Henry Haight. Um, Today's video is a little different. I'm starting a web series on some of my friends, artistic friends, and their artistic pursuits and their career trajectories. Also to shed light on how other artists work and share opinions, views, and insight into the world of art and their creative processes, to give viewers a different perspective from just not only mine, but virtually how we correlate and collaborate and come together as a collective of artists. I think it's essential that artists prop each other up, and through group shows and camaraderie that we share ideas, like the great masters did. Some of my friends that I've been fortunate enough to show with and get to see their work and flourish is one of the reasons why I've decided to make this web series and interview them. My first interviewee and victim is a very dear friend of mine who I had the great privilege of meeting back in 1999 when I was working for Diamond Jack's Dennis Cockle's shop in Soho, England. And he was not an artist yet, but was a journalist working for Bazaar magazine, which was a UK publication that covered cult movies, avant-garde art, alternative music, camp cinema, fetish body art, you name it. If it was in the subculture, very lowbrow, Billy Chainsaw was at the forefront. And Billy Chainsaw is a man of many hats. He's an artist, a director, a writer, a big teddy bear, and just a lovable guy. A little background that in the 80s, he used to be Siouxsie and the Banshees fan club manager. And, he has met everyone and worked with everyone from Lydia Lynch, Siouxsie Sioux, yada, 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 you name it. And he's also one of the members of the Satanic Cartoonists. We came together to do a collaboration on the Illustrated Ape, which I think you can still get. And thanks to our mutual friend Jason Tomic, who spearheaded this project, we've also done countless shows together, exhibited throughout the years, as well as just cross paths and cross-pollinated with a motley crew of other artists. Billy Chainsaw's work is steeped in iconography from the dark arts, sex magic, pulp, popular culture. He's fascinated with punk icons such as Jordan, Pamela Rook, William S. Burroughs, Aleister Crowley. Death to him is prevalent in his work, and the thing that I always love about Billy's work is that it's very simplistic, and virtually his upcycle vessels that he does are quite amazing. And he just has a lot of fun with what he does. So with that, I'd like to introduce you to the formidable Billy Chainsaw.
Okay, let's take Oh, it's recording.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, no, it's for YouTube.
Yeah, hang on. No, I'll leave that on. I have to put that on.
How you doing, man?
Not bad, you?
Yeah, hanging in there.
Up and down. Same with me.
Yeah, it's I've got the folks. That's a bit taxing, and essentially, I've just finished the Huxley show, and I'm doing a show in September here in Hollywood at Lauren Powell Project. So we're doing a really big push for that. And I'm hoping to virtually get some sales because I haven't had a sale in about 4 or 5 months.
Blimey.
You know, normally I can do something like 2 or 3 every quarter to kind of just, and then I might do like a big commission or something. Those ones really kind of put me over, and
Yeah.
it's just it's been up and down right now, and you know what it's like. It's just fucking always on the breadline. It's a hustle, and
It's the same with me, month in, month out, trying to get the mortgage.
yeah, and it's maddening. One of the things I want to do about this is essentially kind of build up a lot of the artists that I know, as well as kind of go the insightful way of why they do what they do, and because it seems like with art right now that things are reverting to kind of like greeting card art, if that makes sense. And um, I know Billy at Wacko. He's a big connoisseur of lowbrow art with Soap Plant and La Luz de Jesus, and he's been at it for fucking ever, and we started talking. He kind of gave me the idea to just start interviewing artists on their artistic journey. So that's why you're here right now.
Oh, good. Now, I've got total respect for him. I've been down all those places when it was at the soap plant, the smaller one on Melrose, wasn't it?
Yeah,
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 I went to it when it was on Melrose, and it was quite small there. And I've been to the one where he moved to, where he's got the gallery as well.
yeah. Because he moved everything like in one in house, and I was just there. Was it 2 weeks ago? And he did a group show where he did small paintings, and it was amazing because some of the artists that he does give a platform to really virtually shine, and it's amazing because Southern California kind of is known for that lowbrow, you know ground zero of art. And if you I think he has a few pieces online, but he's done like a 12 by 12 show of just like small canvases like this.
Yeah.
And I've I fucking finding good art supplies here where my parents live is fucking difficult, so I have to have everything shipped.
Really?
Yeah, well,
How come?
there's a Hobby Lobby, and they kind of do the student entry level, and they do some other stuff like golden stuff, but they don't have like a huge array of stuff. And there's a Michaels. You know?
I don't know what Michael's is.
Michaels is kind of it's like a craft store. More.
Oh, okay.
They do crickets and all that other shit, felts, and nothing wrong with that, but you know it's not like London where they have like great art, or Atlantis, and they're just like an art superstore. The closest here is Blick,
Right.
and you know I, I would say they're pretty good, but they can also be pricey. So
Yeah.
and they don't do like professional artists discounts. That's why I when I go to when I go to Great Art, I would always go buy splurge on my birthday because you get an additional 50% off on your birthday. It helps. So, um, yeah. So you ready to start the interview?
Yeah,
Okay. Now the first question is, how long have you been an artist?
all my life really, but I never put it out there until about 10 years, 11 years ago.
Right.
Something I've always done, but never considered um, doing it as a profession really, because I was always doing other stuff.
Well, I remember when I met you, you were writing for Bazaar magazine.
Yeah,
Yeah. And do you still do journalistic work as well?
not really, very rarely. Occasionally I get asked to do something, but I'm more about the pictures these days.
I hear you. Well, I mean, publishing is really going through the ringer. I think this
It's
is
gone through the ringer.
well,
It's been
but I think
spat out.
I think what's funny right now is that art or culture in general, everyone's talking about culture, this culture war. But if you think of like writers in Hollywood who have to like can't even pay their mortgages on big shows, and the residuals, art is next. That I think we're losing the uh the validation and the craft of what should be compensated for works. um
Mhm.
and it's always diminished or minimized. um why do you choose the subject of death, or the subject matters that you put into your work? Like, what is the allure of William S. Burroughs and the skull, or Aleister Crowley?
The allure.
Well,
That's
I know, I mean,
it's just they are things that have been part of my life for so long, decades and decades. Long before um, I ever started doing art seriously, and to the point where I regard Burroughs as my ghost muse, because with his cut-up method, while it's not immediately apparent in my work, it's always there,
right.
subliminal. It's part of my process.
Right. All right, cool.
And Crowley and death and masks and all the rest of it. It's all things that have just for more years than I can remember. Since I was a kid, actually, it really started when I was 10 years old.
Wow. Okay.
And it started with my first purchase in 1966 of an American comic book.
Which comic book was that?
I don't know what comic book it was, but it was Marvel. It was some kind of horror comic, right? And since that day changed my life, really. I mean, because on several levels, you'll laugh at this, I'm sure, but from that day forward, I wanted to be American.
Really?
Because I wanted to buy all that crazy shit that was advertised in them. You remember all the weird adverts?
Well, those are my favorite. The back of the comic books are always my favorite, especially in the old girly. My dad used to buy a lot of nudie magazines, like and Hustler and and I always liked the adverts. And virtually Bazaar had them as well in the back, all weird and wonderful. Like you shouldn't be ordering that. Brown paper packages coming in the. They predated Amazon.
Yeah. And it was that what I wanted to be American, because obviously you couldn't buy them in England. And at the age of 10, I had no way of getting them. It was that simple. Right. So that started the big visual thing.
Oh, interesting. Okay. And what's your favorite? Go on. No, go on.
You.
No, and that started what for you?
the whole visual thing with comic book, it stayed with me forever.
Okay.
Such a great influence.
What's your favorite Burroughs book?
My favorite Burroughs book. I can't say this off the top of my head because there's so many. I'm looking up on the show. It would have to be Naked Lunch.
Well, that's a good one. Okay.
They all are though. I can't differentiate between them, to be honest. You can, because they're so. I can pick up any one at any time and open it up at any page, and there'll be something that just captivates me immediately and inspires.
Right. What are the biggest misconceptions of being an artist today in the age of TikTok, social media, and YouTube and Instagram, where there's this facade or veneer that they put out there, but what do you think is the biggest misconception so far in today's social media climate of being an artist?
For being an artist, the biggest misconception is that people think that we've got a lot of money. It has to be, because I think, he's an artist. They just do art for a living,
Well, I think artists can there can be a lot of money made, but then to virtually, replenish things. Good art supplies, especially archival, aren't cheap. And,
no, I know. And I refuse to buy cheap art supplies because it shows in your work.
Yeah.
If you go to an exhibition and you can see if it's a shitty canvas or something. And I know people that go to really cheap ass places to buy their art supplies, no names, and it shows in their work.
I hear you. No, but do you ever think that there's a hack? Like, if I need body, I was talking to Finn Stone about this, that I will take cheap paints from like a college and then mix it with golden molding paste to build up the viscosity in the body of something, to virtually, because I need volumes of the shit. And
that's you adapting though. You're adapting something. You're not just using the cheap ass crap. You're doing something with it.
Yeah, no. But do you ever
you're performing alchemy, which to me is what art is. You're turning something into something else.
I believe that art supplies are, when you're concocting potions and resins and solvents and stuff, it to me, art can be a form of alchemy because you're creating magic, a visual.
Yeah. No, I 200% agree, wholeheartedly. It's all magic. It's all magic.
So, what is the best advice you've ever been given as an artist from a fellow artist? Don't do it.
No, I've never been told that. I don't think I've been given that much advice, really.
Really?
Yeah.
Maybe you need...
Well, what I've said of, hang on. The only thing that comes to mind is don't buy cheap ass materials.
Yeah.
And that's from somebody I collaborate with.
Okay. Is there an artwork you wish you created, or that you are still in awe of, that you look at today and just thought, man, I wish I created that? Because I think some artists have that kind of, they marvel at others' work in respect and just think, oh.
No one particular, but this might come as a surprise because it does to most people, and some people haven't bloody heard of him. Julian Schnabel.
Oh, really? Which one?
No one in particular.
I know he does scale. He
yeah. It's a scale. That is something that I really hope to be able to do one day. It's out of my reach at the moment.
Well, I I think the hardest part, I mean, Mark Rothko said the hardest thing that an artist can do is take space on a rich man's wall. And what I've learned is that when you do scale, big massive works, your market for those people becomes smaller because they need the space to house that.
Yeah.
And I used to think, scale is a big, size queen. And yeah. And so
This
can you make smaller stuff? And I'm like, no,
this actually goes back to the former question
yeah,
about the advice. You just rattled the old cage because people said don't do your work too big because
yeah.
people haven't got the wall space. And there is a logic to that, especially here in England, because you
Well,
live
I
live
think,
here in England, and it's like what our wall spaces are
yeah,
like.
I think, yeah, you kind of have to think of that, and it's a marketing ploy as well. Sure, if you're going to sell to or be housed in a institution, they have the space for it to move those. But I I was starting to go smaller, and I think okay, I'm making a big painting now, and I'm thinking, man, I hope this thing sells because I'm screwed if I don't. Um, Next question is, uh, first artwork that you took notice of, like a painting or an image that made you go, wow.
You're so specific with your questions. That went wow. That would have to be something by Salvador Dali. Which okay, one off the top of my head, The Great Masturbator.
Okay.
I can't remember what it looks like, but I can remember it's called The Great Masturbator.
Right.
Now, I'm not sure if it was the picture or the title that was the attraction.
Right. Now, what is the best thing about being an artist?
Freedom.
And the worst thing about being an artist?
No money. But that doesn't matter because I'm at a point in my life when I decided to become an artist that I knew it was my calling and that was it now.
Right.
I can't do anything else. I physically can't do anything else. Not because I'm an invalid or anything, but I just can't. This is it now till the end.
Yeah.
And I get no more pleasure. Well, I get the greatest pleasure just going down my studio and being on my own and creating. That's why the first wave of COVID didn't affect me at all, because being an artist is a solitary pastime.
No, it's amazing because I think that it's you and a piece of art. And do you ever feel that your work is do you ever have a combat or feel combative with a piece of work that you're trying to get a language with? And do you ever feel a piece gives you trouble that you're trying to get something, or do you have a process?
I have a process because I have to use these terms. Being an artist, whether I'm reading, whether I'm watching TV, watching a movie, whatever, walking down the road, my mind just fills with images. And this is part of a William Burroughs cut-up, because everything is a cut-up, because it's going into your head whether you like it or not, right?
Right.
So you log in all this information, and then it flows naturally with me, thankfully, that I'm always working, and one thing leads to the next. If I do a body of work for a show, I like to try and finish, because I'm already thinking about the next stuff I'm going to do. I always like to finish with something that connects to that show, but leads into something else that shows, that signposts where I'm going. That
Okay.
makes sense?
Yeah. Now, what do you think makes a great piece of art?
God, that's a difficult one. Everything is subjective, so it could be anything.
Okay.
Okay, emotion.
To-
I want the person who looks at my art to be moved in some way, even if it's disgust, you know.
Well, no,
'Cause
I do truly believe that art should invoke an emotional and physical response upon,
yes,
have impact. Good art
yes,
should have impact.
yeah.
You know, good or bad, it should. That's its job to do that. Um, I then can you tell me in with now, like, with social media stuff, and now we're getting into, you know, artificial intelligence and NFTs and stuff. Do you think they are of, you know, hyped or overrated?
Both. I have no interest in either, because for me, art is a physical thing. It's hands-on.
Yes, I believe that. You know,
Pretty much everything I do. In fact, everything I do, I don't do editions. If I do an edition, which I do, I have a series that I do through with a guy called Al in San Francisco and his company, About Being Seen. I have an edition called the 23 Suite.
okay,
And that's
yeah.
the edition of 23, right?
No, I love the one with Jordan, Pamela Rook. I like
Yeah.
that one. I've always wanted,
Yeah.
because
But everyone is different, because I hand pull everyone. I don't even, you know, because you screen print, when you do the mask, you mask it off so it slips in there and you pull your screen down on top of it. I don't do that. So everyone is different. No.
well, so you do this School of Warhol subscription that each edition or each poll
Yeah.
is going to create. Yeah. I mean, happy accident.
Yeah, because everyone also, it has a number 23 spray painted on it, right?
Uh-huh.
After I do the background, do the pull, afterwards it has a number 23 sprayed on it. It's never in the same place on any one. So every single piece is an original piece.
So
this goes for all my works on paper as well. It's not just canvases, because canvases are obviously a one-offs, but all my works on paper, I like to do them like that. I believe in Warhol is one of my biggest influences.
me too.
Having said that, I believe in exclusivity over mass production, because his mass production, like you did a link between how he does it, how he did it, and how I do it. I was going to say exclusivity over mass production, but I do produce more than one. I just, they happen to all be individual.
Is there an artist that you feel that is overrated?
Not really.
Really? Oh, I'm a bitch.
Is there? Is there?
Okay.
There must be.
Now, as an artist, what do you skimp on?
Hang on, let me finish that question.
All right.
Yeah, there are, but I don't think it's my place to say, oh, they're overrated, because they have their followers, and you know, everything is subjective, so that's it. But I think a lot of art is shit.
But no, but the reason I ask that is because sometimes with the fully formed function of a gallery, galleries work as ateliers. They go that we believe this work is of a particular value, but then it's one thing to appropriate. And I know I'm with one gallery where the artist always talks about himself, but he blatantly rips off other artists. Even so, where artists have actually fucking ripped him a new one on his own social media feed, and this my gallery love, and I'm like, I know that he just ripped off other people blatantly.
Yeah.
And then he
Well,
makes
there is a very famous, I'm not going to mention his name, but there's a very famous artist out there that rips off Banksy in his work. He actually uses Banksy's imagery in his own work, and he's very, very famous.
What the hell? Is that you or me?
That's you, mate. You've been haunted.
I was going to ask you. Okay.
You know what I'm talking about?
I do, but there's another one. This is where we get murky. Because
Yeah.
I mean, there's certain artists that I do love, and others like I don't get it. But and I'm the type that if I'm at a show and I've had a few drinks in me, I will let you know what I think of the work.
Really?
Oh God, yeah.
Like I don't know that. I've been out with you at galleries.
Yeah, but I mean, most of the work that I've seen, I tend to like. So I'm like, okay. And that's another conversation for a later time. But I do believe that if I can see an artist virtually efforts, and then they credit or virtually they name check the artist where they get the inspiration and then go in a different avenue, that's different because they're linked together and there's a progression of a narrative, which I think art should do. But
yeah.
Others, I'm like, who is this fucking person blowing to get that
Yeah.
But I guess, and I think because it has an emotional response to me, I go, well, I get it. But if I'm schooled up on certain imagery and know it, I'm like, we'll move on to that one later.
I think we've summoned up some voices,
Yeah, but as an artist,
it's at your end.
Yeah. So as an artist, what do you splurge on, and what do you skimp on, or what do you kind of use as hacks? Like what do you artists splurge on, and what do you hack on?
Material wise.
Yeah, because I mean, certain things, like I went to the Dollar Tree store the other day, and I know that painting and canvas protectors, if I go through a wholesaler, a bag would cost me like 50 quid for a bag of 60 or whatever. And this guy had these pool noodles made of foam, and I thought, if I just fucking cut these, and they were like $1.25 each.
Are they blue?
What?
Are they blue?
Yeah,
I can see them. Yeah.
So I'm never fucking buying carton protectors again. Just go to the Dollar Tree or the pound store and buy those pool noodles, because I was just like, it's madness. But do you do anything like that?
I do nearly all my own packaging.
Okay.
Create my own boxes, because that's something that is expensive.
Yes.
Shipping. So I create all those. I keep whatever boxes come through the house, especially big ones, I keep all those at the studio, and then I cut them down to size with lots of bubble wrap. Who are you looking at?
Oh no, there's what do you call it? Because there's some Japanese citrus bug that's been found in my parents' area. And they gave us a notice, and my parents have 2 citrus trees in their back garden. So they're fumigating to try to get rid of, like in the 80s we had the Mediterranean fruit fly. And then putting pesticide on in my parents' trees, orange and lemon trees. So that was, I think that was me hearing them trying to like get my attention. So now, favorite museum or gallery that you like to go to for inspiration?
Oof. This is going to surprise you. I don't go to many. They're all up in London. I don't live in London anymore.
Well, I know that, but I mean, I know we hung out a lot in, like, you know, Underdog Gallery.
Yeah, doesn't exist anymore.
What's that? Yeah, what happened to it?
I know. He stopped doing it. I think same with a lot of things like that. They get a lease on a property, and then the lease finishes, and they move on. Okay, it has to be the Horse Hospital in Bloomsbury, London. That has to be my favourite gallery, simply because Roger Burton, the legend that is, living legend that is, because technically legends are dead, he gave me my first solo show. We'd been friends for years, and he'd introduced me to so much that visual, audio stimulation, that, you know, it's the stuff that makes you the person that you are. And the stuff that he's had there, the films, the artists, everything. No, it has to be that place. It's the only truly original art space in London, England.
Well, it's got a huge history that is, you know, huge. Very good. Have you achieved your artistic goal, or is there
hell no,
or is there a goalpost in your trajectory and career that you'd like to eventually get to?
Right, okay. I think you have to challenge yourself every time you do a picture, which is what I strive to do. I strive to do new things with my art. The goal is to carry on doing it, and until I die, basically. But as regards a goal, I'd really like to, and I'm not wishing to sound cynical, but I'd like to make some money out of it.
Yeah.
You know, so it's not such a struggle. Because it doesn't affect the art, the struggle and the stress. In fact, the art, creating the art, for the time that you're creating, holds all those problems at bay, because you're in your zone.
Right. Okay.
Me?
What artist advice would you give to those starting out right now?
Just follow your heart. Don't take no for an answer. Do exactly what you want to do.
Okay, lightning round. Love or money?
Is this a question?
Yeah.
Love or money?
Love or money, lightning round. You have to answer quickly. Love or money?
Oh, okay, lightning round. Love.
Okay. Picasso or Warhol?
Warhol.
Audiobooks, music, or silence while working?
CDs.
TV.
CD.
Oh. See,
Oh,
you listen to
music.
CDs? You listen. Wow,
Music.
I don't have any CDs anymore. Art to me is
Everything.
art should not be
Boring.
artists you can most identify with.
Warhol.
Art collector or art institution.
Collector.
Okay, and famous last words.
Bin.
Billy, oh man, I'm gonna end this. I'm gonna hit you up on Facebook, and we'll finish the chat there. Is that cool?
Yeah, of course.
All right, man. I'll see you in a minute.
So you got the answer then. You
Yeah,
understood what I said by fin.
Yeah, I did get it. I'll speak to you in a minute.